Hey guys, welcome back to episode 4 of Pixel Flicks. This is, as I said, our 4th episode, but it's our first episode that we're actually filming, isn't that right, Ryan?
Yes, we have the full running. Hello.
Hello. So we're going to put this up on YouTube as well as putting it on Spotify and all the other various places where you can listen to the podcast. You can now watch the podcast as well. A couple of people requested that that's how they prefer to consume these things.
So, so demanding these
supply and demand. So we're just giving the people what they want. So yeah, we're going to talk about. Mainly, I think we decided that the last podcast of each month would be a little film club type thing. So we're going to talk about the film that we chose for this particular month, which was Frances Ha from Noah Baumbach, or however you pronounce his name. So we'll talk about that in a wee bit.
Yep.
We're going to answer some questions, and we're going to watch. We've watched one particular movie trailer, so we'll discuss that as well. But before all that, Ryan, how you doing? What you been up to?
Not a lot. Well, obviously it was a bit windy up this way on Friday, so kids got sent or didn't go to school, so that ruined my Friday to myself basically. So I had to put up with them. But no, not a lot. I went down the beach yesterday with Sophie and Brody, and that was probably about as exciting as it got, to be honest.
Nice.
Can't think of much else actually. I did. No, you?
Saturday. What did we do on Saturday? Oh, we stayed in. We had like a wee date night in the house, and Amelia had made a lovely 3-course meal.
Nice.
And we watched Shallow Grave.
Oh, really?
And Frances. We watched Frances Ha as well.
That's weird. I spoke about Shallow Grave on Saturday, actually. I was talking
you?
about it. Yeah, I don't remember much about the film. But
first time I've ever seen it.
Oh, really?
So it is. Yeah. And then yesterday we went to the cinema. Watched. What did we watch? Presence and Complete Unknown. I'll talk about them later though.
Okay.
So yeah. And then I stayed up watching NFL last night as well. The Chiefs are
late?
in the Super Bowl again. Yeah. So
I wish I had more to comment on the NFL. I've not really watched that in a long time. Occasionally, when I'm in work, if it's on, I watch it. But I don't seem to find the time for that anymore.
I don't quite watch it the same way I used to. Even like this season, regular season, I mainly just watched the Seahawks play, and then I've watched a bit of the play. I've had the playoffs on whilst I've been like doing all the stuff like gaming or whatever.
Nice.
But yeah, so before we talk about Frances Ha, I just wanted to talk about Mickey 17.
Please do.
Did you watch the trailer? How did you feel about it?
I did. Yeah, I think it looks good fun. Looks different than what I don't quite know what I was expecting, but it looks a different movie from what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Looks a lot more fun. Looks a lot more comedy or maybe physical comedy involved. My initial first thought was, I'm not sure how I feel about it because instantly Pattinson's accent kind of threw me. I don't know why. Again, I don't know why I thought he was going to be English, but his accent threw me. So, but once I got over that, it looks good fun. I'm interested to see what we get from it. Because I think essentially is it going to be Mickey 17 versus Mickey 18 versus
Establishment.
Yeah.
And it feels like much like a lot of his films. It looks like it tackles class, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like it's obviously feels a bit more akin to like Snowpiercer, than opposed to like Parasite or just that sort of sci-fi element that's involved. But also like it does look like his most fun film. Like, I didn't realise Toni Collette was in this, which makes me even like happier because I think she's brilliant in everything. But like Mark Ruffalo's going through this like little phase just now of being like this sort of plainly sort of weird, eccentric characters. Because did you see Poor Things? It was out last year.
That's with Emma Stone.
Aye.
Yeah, I saw bits of it. I saw like the bits or most of the film, I think, and yeah, it was quite weird and
Aye,
quite is eccentric's probably the best way to describe it.
and he's sort of seems like he's doing that again, which I'm here for. Like I love Ruffalo. So also I got the impression from I don't know if it was just like maybe he's just dressed different, and but I was like, oh, does he have more than is there more than one Ruffalo in this as well?
Yeah,
I kind of got that impression from the trailer. I don't know if you're supposed to.
because he had his hair slicked back at one point, didn't he? And then you had like his
But he
kind of.
seemed like a different character as well. I don't
Mhm.
know if it was just so. I'm quite interested to see how that pans out. But I thought this looked great, and I think like um yeah, like I don't know if comedy would be the right word, but it certainly looks really fun. And I think even just the song choice at the end as well is sort of like, do you know what it sort of reminded me of the song at the end? Is the same sort of like almost. It's funny how this is almost like a when it comes to music and films like a genre type thing, like Guardians of the Galaxy type. It feel to it at the end there with all the action and the song choice. I really liked it, and I'm really looking forward to it. I liked it. It feels so different from Parasite, which was that was his last one. That was after Okja, wasn't it? Parasite.
Yeah,
I
I
think it
believe so.
was.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even both of them. But he loves like sort of he's quite likes delving into the sort of weird sci-fi. So looking forward to it. I think it looks great.
Yeah, look good.
I have
Yeah,
no issues with accents or anything like that.
less judgy than me.
Nice judgy.
I said less judgy than me.
Yeah. I think apparently he was trying to like I saw that he was trying to like Steve-O was his inspiration for his voice at first. And I think he
Yeah,
has changed it since then, but I saw that like Steve-O from Jackass was his inspiration to sort of start with.
yeah, I can get that. I could hear now that you say that. I can probably hear that in the
Yeah.
trailer.
And then so people have been pitching like, oh, they should do a Steve-O biopic and have Robert Pattinson play him, which would be quite good.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're going to we're going to talk about Francis Ha, which is from Noah. Is it Baumbach? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, that's how I'd say it. Bomb back. Yeah.
Um, starring Greta Gerwig, his wife. I don't know if they were married at the time, but that's the situation just now. So talking about this a wee bit. What was your initial thoughts?
It was a nice film. I think that's probably my tagline for it would be it was a nice film. It's the first time I've seen Greta Gerwig as performing in anything, and I really enjoyed her. She was quite a charming character, I thought. But yeah, if you're talking
Yeah,
about just my overall thoughts of it, it was a nice film. Didn't do a massive amount for me, but I didn't hate it either.
I think yeah, I think overall I didn't like it, and I don't know if it's just like I maybe just need to sit a wee bit longer because I only watched it a couple of days ago, and I don't know if it's just because I had reasonable expectations of it, just because it is Noah Baumbach, and I've actually only seen maybe one or two of his stuff, but like I mean, Marriage Story I think is great, and I'm a big Greta Gerwig fan now. Granted, that is from a as a director point of view, and so I don't know if I put my expectations in the wrong place. But I think overall I didn't really enjoy it. But I will give you like I think the things that I did enjoy, at least for the most part, was Greta Gerwig. She did have a bit of a charm about her.
Yeah.
But for me, I just found it like I found it like it was almost like they discovered what quirky was, and it just felt a bit much for me at times. I didn't really like any of the characters other than maybe Greta Gerwig, who is quite problematic, and I don't mean problematic in ourselves. I mean like she's quite at times unlikable, and I think that's deliberate. Do you know what I mean? Like in terms of like just the way she's sort of like floating by in life, sort of thing, and the way she treats her friend at some points isn't the best. But the other characters are just, I don't like these characters at all. But like Adam Driver's character especially. But obviously, I think that you're not meant to like that character. At least I hope so, because he was a dick. But yeah, and I found the pacing really weird. I felt it was just skipping along from scene to scene, and I was just like, it never really settled at any point, and I felt like it gets to the end and she's done this like choreography for this show, which it does hint at throughout the film, but I just felt like it just moved along at such a pace for an hour and a half film that I was just, I don't know, I just found a bit like I couldn't get into it at all. It really.
Yeah, I think that's probably all fair. It reminded me of a Woody Allen film, maybe not so much in the overall context of it, but it reminded me of Annie Hall. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I think I've only ever seen one Woody Allen film.
It's black and white as well, and it's got that kind of maybe the same kind of pacing stuff that you're talking about. I think from what I remember anyway, it's been a wee while since I've seen that film, but it reminded me of that, or a wannabe kind of version of that. But no, I thought it was fine. It was a kind of, obviously, a film about a girl trying to find her way in the world and find her place in the world, and it felt like it took a long time to get to her realising that, maybe. And again, I don't know if it's maybe being older and us turning 40 this year, so being elders, that I think maybe a lot of the time I was watching, I was like wanting to give her a shake and say, "Come on, get your finger out," type thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like there's nothing like, I don't have anything inherently bad to say about the film either. Do you know what I mean? There's sometimes things like they just don't click with you for whatever reason.
Yeah,
like I say, like it's not like there was bad performances. It's not like I think it's shot very well as well. There's some like really like good looking scenes. Like I really, the scene that sticks out in my head, I don't know why, like the way it was shot was like, do you know the scene when they're smoking near the start and it's like they're both sitting on either side of the window, her and her best pal. I just like the look of it, but I don't know, there's just something about it just didn't like. I just didn't make sense to me, like the way the plot sort of moved. Like she met these, like there's just characters just dropped in and out the film so quickly. I just felt like I never really got to know anyone else or her. And maybe that's the point. Maybe that's what I'm missing here. Maybe that's like because she's so flaky and she's so like unfocused that you just people just do dropping in at her lives because she doesn't have any sort of focus. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
I think it is quite intentional that she's, again, she doesn't know where she fits in life, and so people come and go from her life, and I think that's probably supposed to be reflected in the movie itself. Did you watch it with Amelia?
Yeah.
What did she think it?
She preferred it more than I did, I think, like, but not like she didn't love it. Do you know what I mean? She just like preferred it more than I did. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I looked at the reviews online, and I'm in the minority here. Like, it's very well received. Like, by people seem to love it. I find it really frustrating because I can't even say, this is what I hate about. I don't hate anything about it. Like, but this is what I dislike about it. It's just I think I wanted to like it, but just for whatever reason, it just wasn't for me. Sorry, what were you saying before I...
No, well, I think, to use a phrase the kids use these days, it's mid. It's okay, in my opinion. But yeah, no, I can get that. I can understand why you feel that way about it. I don't know if it's maybe our younger selves would have liked it differently or something. I'm not sure, but
I did think that at one point. I did think like, I think maybe like when if I was younger, I would have really enjoyed this. Like I think the whole quirkiness of Greta Gerwig, I would have really enjoyed. When I was like, well, she was 27 in the film when I was about that age. Do you know what I mean? I think I probably would have got on board with that a bit more. And sometimes like, I think you're right. Sometimes I was like, oh, she's super charming. She's really likable. And other times I was just like, you're not a real person.
Yeah. Aye.
Like, and again, and it's maybe deliberate, and maybe I'm getting in my own way a wee bit of maybe seeing the film for what it is and enjoying it. But yeah, it just didn't land quite for me. And I think it goes back. Like, I think it goes back to like when this one was suggested to watch. I was just like, oh, those are two people that I'm interested in what they do movie wise.
Yeah.
And so I'm quite looking forward to this, and it just didn't quite land. I don't know if it's just because I just watched. Again, we'll talk about this like towards the end when we discuss what we've been watching and playing. Like, but I watched Shallow Grave before it and really enjoyed that. So I don't know if that. I mean, they're completely different films, but like if that took anything away from it.
Maybe. Yeah.
Cool. Do you have anything else to say about Francis Ha?
No. Again, it didn't connect with me. Maybe the way it does with other people. So, yeah, as I say, I've got nothing really negative to say about it. It's just nothing over the top positive either.
One thing I did like about it, actually, it's just come out of my head. I liked that her the sort of she speaks about. Is it at the dinner table? She speaks about like I can't remember, but where when you love someone and you see them across the room, sort of thing, and you just look at them and you are in like a different world and you just know what you're talking about. And I love that for her, it was her pal.
Yeah.
Like I did enjoy that. That's sort of how it ends, if I'm correct, or towards the end anyway, where they have that wee moment where they sort of like their eyes meet across the room, and I just like I did like that. I thought that was nice that I guess the love of her life is her best mate sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. So a couple of questions to go through from the usual suspects. First one is from Jack in the Box. He says, "What are your most underrated games / movies?"
So for myself personally, then, so I've got a few for both that I think are underrated, and ones I don't know if necessarily they are underrated, but it's ones that I think maybe don't get enough attention or praise that they deserve.
That's how I've looked at it, because I find it hard to find underrated stuff, but I've found things I feel like not enough people have watched or not enough people have played. Does that make like more so than like the maybe the people who have watched / played think, oh yeah, these are great people, like people should be watching and playing them.
Yeah.
What you
so
got for us?
First one I've got then, again, admittedly, I did have to mention this to you. I had to like Google just to give myself a wee bit of inspiration, because I get a bit, my mind just goes totally blank with these type of things. So one that did pop up quite a lot, and one that I do remember watching and thinking, why have I never seen or heard of this before, was Tom Hardy movie Lock.
Oh, I've never seen it. The one plays the Welsh guy in the car.
Yeah, and
I've never seen it.
I had no knowledge of what the film was about. I can't remember how I came across it, but I just saw it and I was just like, oh, I'll give this a go, because I think it was maybe quite big in Tom at the time. And then, just sitting that way, and it was that way. Not an awful lot actually happens, because I don't know if it's a spoiler or not, but the entirety of the movie is him in his car.
Yeah.
And but it's just so engaging, and I was just like, I just remember thinking, why is nobody ever? I've not heard anybody talking about this film. I just happened to find it, and a great movie and a great performance from somebody who's just, again, not doing a lot, but a lot at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That's Tom Hardy's speciality, though, isn't it? Is not doing too much, like in terms of like at least talking sort of stuff.
Yeah, I need to go back to that actually. I need to watch it again, because it's been a while. But yeah, that's a really good movie, and one that I would recommend to people if you've not seen, like you, Brian.
Yeah, I do need to go on it. I probably would enjoy that. I like Tom Hardy for the most part. He does mumble a wee bit, but I do like Tom Hardy. He's good.
What about you?
Are you doing more than you got other films? I've got a few films here.
Yeah, let's go interchange between us.
Okay. So
Bounce.
I'll do this one. I'll do this one quickly because we did mention it last week just when we were talking about other stuff. But like, I do. It's probably the one that out of on here that is actually people like actively don't like it, and I think Eternals, from the MCU is
That's a good shout.
is fantastic. I think it's a great film. I think like. I don't know, since we spoke about it, I don't know if it's just because like my phone's listening, but I feel like I've seen some more clips from it on my social media. And I just think it's great. I think the story's great. I think the action's great. I think the characters are great. It looks incredible. Like it looks so good. I just think it's a great film, and I just feel like I need to watch it again because the only thing I think is a slight knock on it. I said two things. The pacing in the first hour of the film is a wee bit all over the place, and it's maybe 15-20 minutes a bit too longer than it needs to be. So I think it's 2 hours plus, isn't it? Was it the longest Marvel movie actually?
I can't.
It might.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty long.
I think one of the other things maybe that holds it back.
It's 2 hours and 37 minutes long. Like it's like
quite long.
Trim the fat a bit, man. Like.
I think maybe one of the other things that doesn't serve it well is placing it in the MCU. It's maybe like less fun than a lot of the other films, or there's less. I don't know quite how it works, but I mean,
but I like that. I like the tone of the film.
Yeah,
I like but definitely, and it's not as not to say that there isn't fun moments in it, but yeah, it's nowhere near as especially for first entries. I feel like the first entries for most of the films are all pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's a great film, and I just think more people should appreciate it.
I would agree. Yes.
I think it's one of those ones when people do like an MCU rewatch, when they start watching other films, they'll watch that one and go, "Oh, that was better than I remembered it to be."
Yeah. Again, I would definitely agree, and it's one that I remember. I think we did mention that, but it's one that I remember thinking, "Why is this getting quite as much hate as what it's getting?"
I find it bizarre.
I think it is because of the things you've mentioned there. That probably the runtime's way too long for that type of film, or for a first entry, to try and get people engaged and on board with it, and then you have maybe less of a fun time with it.
Yeah, maybe. What we got next?
Well, we spoke about Robert Pattinson earlier on. One that I have on my list is Good Time.
Great film.
Yeah, so good. I remember hearing a wee bit of buzz about it, like on, I don't know if maybe it was like the Empire podcast or something back in the day when I first heard about it, and then I was like, just.
Do you know what I think? Do you know I think you heard it? Because this is where I heard it. Remember John Schnepp on Collider?
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
He used to talk about it all the time, and that's where I heard it from to go watch it. He was always.
I think you're right. Actually.
He was always going on about
it. Yeah, just what a performance by Pattinson in it. It's one of those ones. It was the turning the corner or whatever the phrase is.
Yeah.
With him and overcoming like the Twilight stuff. Not that like I've watched the Twilight movies. I don't think he's bad in it or anything like that at all. But it's just that the Twilight movies are what they are, but you get obviously you see his acting abilities maybe more maturing, and just a great movie. Just one of those films again from start to finish. It's just a bit of a ride, and thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's on Netflix, or I think it's a Netflix produced movie. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it's on.
I think I saw it on Netflix. I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm sure it is a Netflix movie.
It's brilliant. It's on Prime at the moment, so it is.
Oh, is it?
So I'm just looking it up here. Yeah, it's the first Safdie brothers film I'd watched as well. Like, Good Time, and you're right, Patterson's great, man. He's just... I mean, the film's great. It's got the wee guy that's in Captain Phillips as well, isn't it? The guy who plays, like, I'm the captain now. Like,
yeah.
The theme park type thing, the amusement park thing at the end, isn't it? He's in that bit. Yeah, it's really good. I need to watch it again, actually. Yeah, and you're right, and it falls under that category of it's not that it's underrated by people who have seen it. Like I think in terms, I think critically it's probably well received, and then everyone who's watched it's probably like, oh my days, this is great.
Yep.
I think it's just that probably not enough people have seen it. I think it's one of the films I mentioned to everybody when I remember when Robert Pattinson get cast as Batman, and a few people were just like, no for me, and I was just like, watch Good Time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, because I think they just had Twilight in their heads, and I was just like, honestly, like watch Good Time, and it's like you'll change your opinion on Robert Pattinson. Maybe not make you decide he'll be a good Bruce Wayne or whatever, because obviously it's a different type of character. But I think it takes away any doubt that the guy can act, and he's went from being like someone who people are like, oh, he's the Twilight guy, to actually Robert Pattinson potentially top 5 actor in the world. Do you know what I mean? Like top 10 or whatever. I think he's great. I'd watch anything he's in.
Yeah, it's the reason that people like Nolan and that want him in his movies is because he's a bit of a chameleon, and I think he could probably
100%.
play most roles that you give him.
Yeah, 100%. I like it. Good pick, Ryan.
Thank you very much.
My next one is again, it sort of falls under the same sort of category of I think really good film, although it's not got a great score on Rotten Tomatoes, so maybe it is underrated. 74% by critics and fans, the exact same. It's Nocturnal Animals.
Oh God, yes, aye. My God,
have you seen Nocturnal Animals?
Aye, I'm pretty sure that I came out of the pictures and I was like, I couldn't believe what a good film that was. Aye, God, I forgot about that film.
Incredible. My favourite performance from Aaron Taylor Johnson as well.
Oh, yeah.
Is that sort of absolute creep, man. See the scene when he goes up to him and he's just sitting on the toilet outside, like wiping his arse as he's talking to the detective and stuff. Michael Shannon's brilliant. Obviously Amy Adams is always brilliant, and Jake Gyllenhaal again, and just the whole telling the sort of story of what seems like a toxic and broken relationship through his novel, and then obviously I won't spoil the ending, but how that ends in the real life. I just thought it was brilliant. I just thought it was such a great, quite hard to watch at times because it's quite harrowing, but such a great film. And Jake Gyllenhaal was on. It baffles me that year Jake Gyllenhaal did that film and Nightcrawler, and wasn't he nominated for either for the Oscars. Two incredible performances.
Yeah. Aye.
So, Nocturnal Animals, I just think is brilliant.
Yeah, it's an amazing show. I totally forgot about that film, and I think for whatever year that was out, I think that might have been my favourite film of the year. I can't remember if there was anything else, but yeah, that was one of those.
2016. That film.
That's in the same category for me as, which is again one I'm going to mention here. That's probably another underrated that I've not included in my list. Whiplash. When I came out of the cinema, and I remember thinking, "What an amazing film I've just watched!" It was one of those experiences that is the reason why going to see films in the cinema sometimes can be so good. There wasn't probably anything specific about it that made it special to the cinema, but just watching it in that environment made it a better experience. And the same was for Nocturnal Animals. I don't think I knew anything about the film before seeing it. Again, I think I saw it because Empire Podcast, Chris Hewitt was talking about the opening scene. I'm pretty sure.
Aye, with the art show.
Yes,
it's very interesting.
And so I was intrigued because of that, and I think Jake was on doing an interview, and so yeah, I didn't really know much about it, and I went and saw it, and just blown away. So yeah, what a shout!
Yeah, I can't remember why. I think we probably just went to see it because especially back then, we were probably going to the cinema every other week. Do you know, every week probably. So just watching everything. But yeah, great film. Really, really like it. Yeah. From Tom Ford as well, like the perfume guy in it.
Is it?
He's the director. I'm sure that's right.
No, I don't remember.
Yeah, great
Nice.
film.
Nice. You're winning, I would say. That's, I forgot how
Not
good that
competition,
film
right?
is. Forgot how good. I'm not sure if we're doing 3 or 4, but I'll jump to my number 4 because it's one of my favourite films. One I mentioned last week, I think, Into the Wild. Amazing film.
Again, I've not seen it. I've not seen this either.
Yeah, so good. It's a film about a boy who is lives an entitled life but isn't entitled and decides to just go and live life, basically. That's probably the best way I can put it. All based on a true story. There's a book about it, and
Yeah,
everything you see is kind of what actually happened. So, yeah, it's a really, really good story. Emile Hirsch, great performance in it. And I think probably the supporting characters as well. Good performances, but yeah, just a really good story and one that I would recommend for everybody. Good soundtrack in it as well.
yeah, I've heard good things. It's one I've just never got around to. I think because I know how it ends. I've always just been a bit like, eh. Like when some things like that, like when you watch something or when
Yeah,
you know the ending, sometimes it makes it a wee bit harder to be motivated to go out and watch it because you're just like, and not that I think obviously having things spoiled does take a little bit away from it, but if a film's good, it shouldn't really matter anyway. Even if you do know the ending, it should still be enjoyable.
well, it's like the list of films that we had to watch for this week, and one of them was Shutter Island, and I'd said I think in the Discord that
Yeah,
I'm not really that bothered about watching it because I know the twist, and so my
yeah.
films like that as well, where the twist is kind of a big thing, I feel I don't know, I'm less inclined to watch it. So yeah, I can
Shutter Island,
understand.
Shutter Island, though. I've seen the last like 40 minutes of Shutter Island, which is obviously quite a bizarre place to jump in on a film. But I was at uni and I was studying, or I was writing an essay or whatever, and I went to the common room where we were like in halls, and they had it on, and I just sat down for 2 minutes, and then I was there to the end of the film. To the end of the film. I don't know if that's how good the film was, or me just procrastinating because I didn't want to go back to actually doing any work. But yeah, no, and anybody else it's on the list, but it's been on the list for a while, so who knows when I'll ever get round to it, sort of thing.
There it is.
I'll just jump to my third film that I put on the list. I don't know if we're doing 4, but my third one, and again, I think like I'm pretty sure this is really well received. And funny you mentioned Empire podcast because this is the other reason why I watched this one is the Mitchells versus the Machines
I've never
on
seen that.
Netflix.
No.
It 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 came out at a bad time because it came out during COVID. But it's from what they called Miller and what they called the guys who did
Lord.
Into the Spider. Yeah, Lord and Miller. Came out in 2021, I think at the beginning of the year. And it's the same sort of Sony. It's the same sort of, not quite the same animation style as Spider Verse, but close. Do you know what I mean? And it's really good. It's such a great little story. The animation's great. It's fun. And I loved it. And like I say, like it's not underrated in terms of like it's got 97 on Rotten Tomatoes, 89 by people who've seen it. But I don't know many people who have seen it, at least in my life. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I just think more people should watch this. I think they would really, really enjoy it. But it feels like it's one of those ones where it's just went under people's radar. And I think it's because it went straight to Netflix during the pandemic. It was still the pandemic in 2021, but you know what I mean? It was cinemas weren't really showing that much stuff, and people were just putting things straight onto streaming, and so
Yeah.
people missed a lot of stuff. And I think that's what's happened with this one. But it's really good. Like it's obviously about like technology and kind of like how that gets in the way of life and stuff like that, and it's bad for us.
Bad
Quick
technology.
minute. You've got kids in the house as well, so you've got a great excuse to watch it.
Yeah, is it set in the cloudy with a chance of meatballs kind of world, or is it similar
No.
animation style? No.
it does have a slightly similar anime. Maybe was that Sony as well, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs?
I'm not sure. I only saw like maybe half of that for the first time the other day. Then it was because the kids were watching it.
I don't know if that's Sony as well.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. I think it would be good, probably as you say, for the kids.
It's the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is directed by Lord and Mother though.
Yeah, that's what I
So
thought.
I guess that's maybe used the same animators or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, great film, great little film. Lots of fun. The animation is great. The action in it's really good as well. I think it's a great wee film.
Nice.
You want to move on to games?
Yeah, I think we should.
What you got first?
My first one, again, it depends. I think gaming's different, maybe to a certain extent, because everybody's got their own taste and what they enjoy playing. I know you can say the same about movies, but I feel like games are a wee bit different because you need to invest a bit more time in them, so you're maybe a bit more picky about what you choose. But one I think that I've got on my list that I really enjoy, and I think most people or more people should enjoy. You've watched me stream it, I think, at one point or another's Prison Architect.
As I thought you were going to say when you.
Yeah, I don't know how many hours I've put in that game. Quite a lot. I don't know what it is about the game exactly, but essentially, for anybody who's not played it, it's a game about where you build a prison and you keep prisoners in, but there's hurdles you need to overcome, and it's all about planning and making sure you've got the right type of prison for prisoners, and you've got like low security up to death row basically, and you need to make different things for different people, and a lot of time you're balancing different things within the game to keep everybody happy and keep them from rioting and breaking out and stuff like that, and they're
Nice.
constantly trying to escape the wee bums. So
How dare they?
Cheeky monkeys, always in their rooms or their cells, digging holes through the toilets, and you need to give them a toilet basically, or they'll just no be happy. So, aye, you're up against it constantly, and it's just a fun game to play. I think anyway. And as I say, it's probably one of my most played games ever.
Nice. Yeah, I noticed it was on PlayStation. I thought it was like PC only. I noticed it was on PlayStation.
Yep.
Actually, I was looking at it a few weeks ago.
I've got it on PlayStation. I don't think it plays the same. You really need mouse and keyboards.
It does feel like it's a mouse and keyboard kind of game. That would be better. Cool. The first game I've got, I can't comment on this game has a single player experience and a multiplayer experience. I can't comment on the multiplayer. I don't know. However, I believe this is a game. It's the same people that make Apex. It's Titanfall 2. I think it's the best first person shooter single player experience I've ever had. I think the game mechanics are just so good. The movement is excellent. Some of the level designs are excellent. And then obviously you get like, not only do you get to be like a first person shooter, like just as a wee guy, but you get to be going a mech suit at one point as well and get that experience. And it's just a short experience. It can't be more than 5-6 hours. But it's just so tight and it's so well done that the gameplay is just it's so good. Like I don't know how else to say it other than it's like how incredible it feels. Feels like you're doing so much with the character. And it's just a shame. Like it's a shame that we've not gotten more because I think I'd love to play more. And I think it's the reason I played it is like I love watching like especially when it comes to games because I feel like I know less about games than I do movies. I love watching videos on YouTube where it's just like here's 15 underrated games you've never played. Like and that's where I found it, and this is one that kept coming up. People just kept saying like you need to play this game, and when I played it, I loved it. I thought it was I picked it up for like £2 on the PlayStation Store, and so played it. It's great, and I think it's the same people who made Apex, and obviously I think some of the movement that's in Apex came from this game as well, and obviously Apex is known for its sort of like got like double jumps and wall running and all that in Apex, don't you? Pretty sure. You probably played more Apex
Yes.
than I have. I'm not an Apex. I don't have the skill set to play Apex. It felt too
Yeah, me either.
too above my pay grade. But yeah,
I
Titanfall 2.
I think I've seen that as well. Like on, I've never played it, but I think as you mentioned, I think I've seen it on most lists that I've seen about. Because obviously, again, done the same with movies. I just for a wee bit of inspiration, just done a bit of googling, and this was like one of the games that just kept coming up was Titanfall 2. So I feel like it's
Yeah,
something obviously you need to pay attention to.
great game. I highly recommend it. I don't know how you feel. I don't know if you like playing like single player first person shooters, but if you're looking for a short experience, then this is, and most of them are quite short. Even the Call of Duty campaigns are generally quite short as well, aren't they? Like they're not first person. I don't know how. I think the Far Cry games can go on quite a wee bit, but a lot of them are quite nice, tight experiences, which is, as an older gamer, is something I'm always interested in. Something that can be wrapped up in a few hours. Cool.
Yeah.
Any more for any more?
Yeah, I'll mention another one which is a wee bit of a different spin on some of similar games like Civilization and that, but it's one called Anno, and there's different versions of it. ANNO. The one that I play specifically is 1440, and
Okay.
it's basically like a world conquering game, and it's the usual stuff about gathering resources and all that. But what I like about this one is it's kind of more focused on trade and things like that, and
Right. Okay.
the land that you have is more important. So, like for Civilization, for example, you stick down a city and then you try and grow out the tiles to capture land, essentially. But with this one, you can like you need to plant your own farms, you need to plant all your own stuff, and yeah, there's just something about it that I don't know. I just really enjoyed more, and as I say, things like trade play a bigger part in it, and it's the art style that it uses as well is something that I really enjoy. It's seems a wee bit more detailed, and you get loads of like really cool. What I think anyway is really cool wee side missions where it's like find a thief in a city, and you need to actually zoom into your city and go and look at all the people and keep an eye for somebody who looks different, or find a spy or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And to upgrade your cities, like you basically you play two hemispheres, and to upgrade to a certain point, you need to then start exploring the southern hemisphere to get certain resources to make certain things to provide for your people to make them happy, and then let you upgrade. So yeah, there's a lot to it, and you can just spend a lot of time playing that game. I think you might enjoy it. I'm not sure because you do obviously you
I
expressed
like
it.
Civ. I do like Civ.
Yeah, so I think through that you might enjoy it. Nado and that they play it as well, and we tried playing a wee map before. So that's a game again that I don't hear many people talk about, but I love, and I think it should get more love.
My problem is I like these games. I'm just not very good at these games. That's the problem with them.
Yeah, well, I like to play them at a
Yeah.
slow pace, and I like to like gather my resources and everything, and take my time, and then go and do stuff. So I usually play against the AI on the good old easy mode, and then batter them at some point.
Yeah, because it's like you enjoy the world building more than the like winning, essentially. Like so,
Yeah.
but if you play it on a more difficult setting, you don't have as much time to do all that stuff.
Right, because the AI is
Because
on
people
you
start like,
constantly.
"Moan, let's have a fight," and you're like, "No, I don't want to fight. I'm trying to do this."
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
It's good as well because with a lot of these other games like Civ, there's a big focus on improving tech. And whilst there is an element of that to this, because it's set within a specific time period, it's less of
Yeah,
a focus.
less of a burden.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I've got
Have
two
you?
more games, but my next one is a game called Inscription, which I've always wanted you to play, but you never seem that bothered with it. It's like a deck card game. It's so good, man. It kind of blew me away when I played it. So it's this deck building card game, but it's also like an escape room as well. Like there's the bit where you, at first you're just playing this card game, and it's like this sort of standard sort of game, like you put a card down and it's got like 2 attack and 3 blocking or whatever, and you're trying to win the board. But then all of a sudden your character gets up from the board and there's like maybe like a cuckoo clock, and then there's like a little box with a key in it, and you've got to try and escape from the room that you're in where you're playing the cards as well. And it's just such a great little story. So the card game itself is brilliant. You can get new cards and you can name them. I named them after my mates when I was naming my cards. I might have sent you screenshots of you being like
the best
named
cards
as a card. And then just all the little details as well. Like the music's great, the sound design's great. Do you know, like when you like the cards like come out like of the deck, or like when you get up from your seat at the table, like this the noise that it makes, it just feels so like a wee bit more immersive and stuff. And I think it's just an incredible game that, because it is an indie game, like I think it's, unless you're really in, I like indie games, so I'm always trying to find ones to play, especially when I get to the end of the year. This was one I actually bought when it came out on day one. But yeah, it's a great game, and I think people are put off. I think lots of people who maybe play your standard games, but I think when they see a card game, they're just like, why would I play a card game? Now, one of my favourite games from last year was a card game, Balatro. I'm not include that because that won like best indie game of the year and all the rest of it. It's won loads of awards. But yeah, I just think it's so good. It's just a well designed game. It's just a lot of fun. And like I say, I think to do the card game itself and do that really well, but then to put this sort of escape room thing on top of it as well, which is good. So you're looking for clues and you're trying to like uncover how do I get out of this room that I'm currently stuck in, whilst playing cards with like the fisherman and all the rest of it. Is really good. Highly recommend.
Nice. I don't know if maybe because I've been playing Snap that it might be more interest to me to play that type of game now. I'm not sure.
Well, I think I was surprised when I remember telling you about it, like because I've not really played this, but I remember you talking about, is it Hearthstone?
Mm-hmm.
Is that, you used to play that, didn't you? And
Yeah.
so I was just like, oh, you maybe like this because you like card games, and I just like, oh, I think it's so good, man. I think it's on. So obviously, it's on my PlayStation Plus. It's on my PlayStation, not even Plus. I bought the game digital, and so you'll have access to it because you've got access to my account.
Yep.
Not illegal, guys. You can share games on PlayStation. Back half.
Mooching off you.
Nah, it's not mooching. It's just sharing. I've got one more game. Do you have one more?
Yeah, I've got one more. I've got two more, but one more really that I would actually talk about. You go first.
All right, okay. So my next game, again, I think like I don't know how it was received critically, but I know by people who have played it. I've got friends who have played it, and they really enjoy it as well. I'm just typing it in to Google just to see how it was received. Love a wee bit of dead air, don't you? Sorry, the game is Guardians of the Galaxy. I think one of the reasons they're suffered. Yeah, so like user score is 8.4, which is obviously good, and the critic score is 80, so 8 out of 10, which obviously that's like, to me that says great game. Like, do you know what I mean? But I think where this game suffered is like it kind of came out from, I'm sure it was from Square Enix, who also did the Avengers game, but different parts of Square Enix. So it wasn't the same people, but I think just sometimes your average fan doesn't know that. But also, I think just the fact that the Avengers game was a superhero film which wasn't great in a lot of ways, I think hurts this Guardians of the Galaxy. I think the design of the characters hurt this game as well. I don't know why the way I said it like that. I think because when I first saw the trailer for this, I was just like, oh, I don't like the designs of those characters at all. And I don't know if that's just because like we're so used to seeing them either in comic books or in the films. Guardians of the Galaxy is obviously a well beloved movie franchise. I think it's one of those ones where I've got friends who don't particularly like the MCU, but they like Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think it's one of those. And I think that the way they look maybe hurt it. Now, I ended up loving the design of the characters, but I don't think it was until I played the game and was well into the game that I was just like, oh no, I love the way the characters look. I love this like sort of interpretation of these characters. It's it's a great game. The story is brilliant. The combat is brilliant. It does get a little bit stale towards the end of combat because like for the first half, maybe first 3/4 of the game, you're picking up new abilities and new way to do things. But by the end of the game, so the way the game works is you play Star-Lord, like only play Star-Lord, but you can give the other characters commands to do by pushing maybe like L1 and then like, I don't know, circle and Drax will do something in it, or L1 and triangle and Gamora will do something, whatever. But it feels like once you get towards the end, this is my only criticism, is that as Star-Lord, I'm not really doing anything other more. I'm just telling everybody else what to do, and it feels like at least that was my experience, that my combat as Star-Lord, I think I would have been able rather just to switch between the characters. For example, like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, a little bit in Remake, but particularly Rebirth, you play as Cloud, but during the fight scene, you can switch to be Barret, or you can switch to be Tifa or Aerith and fight as them instead and use their skills. And I think I would have preferred that. So even if you had to play Star-Lord, like when you're doing all your like searching and moving from point A to point B, once you get into an actual battle, it would have been cool if you could just flip between the characters.
Yeah.
But it's such a great proper Guardians of the Galaxy story. It looks really good. The characters are great. Like it's really it's fun as a Guardians game should be. A solid single player game. I highly recommend it. Especially if you like. I think if you just like good single player experiences, like sort of linear experience that it is, and third person action, then play it. And then if you're a Guardians of the Galaxy or Marvel fan, I think it's something people should play as well.
Yeah, I've never actually played that. Yeah, I've never played it.
Great game, and I think like I say, I think it really suffered off the back of Avengers because people were a bit really down on that. But one thing I will say about the Avengers, like whilst it has lots of problems, like the mechanics of the game aren't great, it feels a bit heavy and clunky at times when like characters feel a bit slow, like and the gameplay's not great. But I think the story of the actual campaign is really good. It's a good Avengers. It's clearly written by people who like Marvel. Do you know what I mean? Who enjoy that stuff. Like Miss Marvel herself she's really good in it. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy. Big thumbs up from me. I think it's brilliant.
Cool, nice, very nice. I'll just give you my last one then, and just again talk about it briefly. I don't know, I've maybe mentioned it to you before, but I don't think, as far as I'm aware, you've ever played it. But you probably could, because I don't think it's that taxing on like a PC or that.
No PC.
Yeah, it's one that's been out for a while, or been in alpha or beta, but I had it since the alpha. It's a game called Project Zomboid, and it's like
you were talking about it. You were talking about it a few weeks ago, weren't you? Not on the podcast, but just like to me.
It's like a wee zombie survival game, and it's like a 2D version, I think, or I don't know how you describe it, but
yeah, I can see it.
It's not like a proper 3D game, like where you're basically you see a wee character in a kind of top-down version-ish. And again, how would you describe that? I don't know what that point of view is.
I'm not sure, but I see what I can see what you're talking about.
But yeah, basically,
anything like kind of like Diablo, Hades, like those sort of games where it's that sort of like not quite bird's eye, but it's sort of like the corner of the room almost, isn't it? Like
yeah. But yeah, it's a really fun game, quite intricate in terms of what you need to do, because it's like the first part of it is just obviously surviving and getting some gear together, but then like after a certain amount of days, the power goes off, and then after I don't know how long again the water goes out. So you need to like really start prepping early on in the game, so you can do things like pick up water bottles, plastic bags, and all this, and you can fill them with water. And then obviously you're kind of supposed to keep these things so that you can survive as long as possible, and then be self sustaining. It's quite good. You get like zombie hordes and all that, and it is quite when you start getting the zombies like banging on your doors and all that, and try to get into where you are. It's quite fun. Just the whole experience of them chasing you down and trying to defend yourself. And again, it's just a wee game. I don't know how much it costs. I don't think it'll cost much. But if you like your zombie survival games,
$16.75 it costs.
Is it?
Aye.
I don't think I paid that for it. But I think it's a lot different now, and it's multiplayer, so you can do it with your friends. I've not played it in a wee while. I do need to check it out again, and I keep threatening to do it. But it's a lot of fun, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it. So if you enjoy zombie survival games, that'd be one I'd say is underrated and maybe doesn't get as much love as it should.
Cool. I've added it to my wish list on Steam. So I have.
Good.
Papa's got it on his wish list as well.
Oh, does he? Nice.
So yeah, he does. Yeah.
Lovely jubbly.
On Steam. Cool. No, I think I'd enjoy that. I think that looks good. I like games like that. I feel like sometimes when it's funny how you get a game that looks like this and you, if you were just to look at it from a pure graphical point of view, and this is why we don't do this with games, because good graphics don't really mean anything. Like, you can I feel like with the sort of limited, what's the words I'm looking for here? I don't know what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is, like, without putting too much pressure on how good the game looks, like, we're going with a specific art style. Like, I feel like developers can do more with the actual game itself. Like, say you're talking about like collecting water bottles and all the rest of it, and like actually like making it more survival. Whereas sometimes when you get like the amazing graphics and it's first person or it's third person, whatever, sometimes the game gets a wee bit more limited in and it just becomes about actual fighting the zombies instead of like the survival element of it all.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And actually, like when the gameplay becomes so good and you get so invested in it, like you either don't care about how. I mean, I think this looks great. I actually think the game looks good. I like the look of the game. That's not what I'm trying to say. But like you don't care about how it looks, because for the most part, gameplay trumps all, doesn't it? Like,
yeah. Oh, it's like Minecraft. Like, that's just a game where it's all big blocks.
It's just pixels.
Yeah, basically.
Well, everything's just pixels, but you know what I mean. Like,
it's one of my most played games. I think it probably is my most played game ever. And yeah, there's no real focus on the graphics. And if you want to, you can like install shaders and all that stuff afterwards. But the focus is on how the game plays.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Well, I was looking at there's a wee screenshot here, and it's a wee guy with like a gun, and there's he's like set up like cars and vans as a wee barricade between him and the zombies and stuff like that.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. I'm not spending £17 on it, but maybe I've put it on my wish list, so I'll get a notification if it comes down in price, and I'll have a wee look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. What do you want to? We'll move on. We had other questions, but I think we'll maybe skip them, eh?
Yeah, keep them for next week.
Cool. I guess then the only thing to discuss before we go then is, what have you been watching / playing?
I knew you were going to ask me this, and I've again total blank. I don't think I've played the computer since we last did a podcast, probably since Monday. I know I said it last night, but I will be on this evening, so if you should be about, I'll be about. But I've been playing Path of Exile. That's we've got.
Oh yeah, I saw you streamed that the other day, didn't you?
Yeah, there's that'll be getting uploaded, or it is uploaded. It will be due to publish at 6 o'clock tonight. So we've got That I'm kind of I'm getting a wee sense I'm going to catch a bug on that and want to play it quite a lot. Um, TV wise, I'm trying to think. I'm sure we did watch another movie, and I just can't for the life of me think of what it is. So no, I'll need to pass on the TV or movie side of stuff. What about
There it
you?
is. Loads. Well, I mean, it finished season one. I don't know if it finished season one of Squid Games last week, but it finished that. Started season two. Finished the Traitors, which was excellent. I think that's my Amelia's just left. I think that's Harley crying. Amelia's leaving. I finished video games. I finished Hello Buddy. My wee dog's here. Finished Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus, which is a 3D platformer from back in the day. Really enjoyed it. It's such a great little platformer, but it's like quite fun characters. It's kind of like heisty, like where you've got a basically he's a raccoon, he's a thief, but he's not a bad guy. He's a good raccoon. He's just trying to get back the Thievius Raccoonus. Sorry for those who are just listening. My dog's literally just jumped up onto my lap there. So she is that right, pal? You want to be on the pod? I get it. You're on video, so people at least get to see you. Yeah, just really good, fun characters. Like it's about basically, he's trying. Sly Cooper's trying to get back the Thievius Raccoonus, and basically he's from a long line of raccoon thieves, like from way back, like in Egyptian times and all the rest of it. And there's these like 5 villains who have stolen parts of it, and he's got to go and get a part from each villain to get it back. And every time he gets a bit back, he gets like a new skill as well. It's quite good. I enjoyed it. And what it made me think of as well is like the amount of games we've had made into movies, and I thought like, oh, this would have been great for a movie, just be like with the plot and the sort of how fun it is and good characters. It surprises me that no one's ever thought, oh, let's make this into a little animated movie. Anyway,
Nice.
More Marvel Rivals. I am 1 trophy away from the platinum, and I'm starting to lose my mind a bit. I can't get the Captain America trophy, and I thought I got it last night because, because you don't need you need to get 3 KOs whilst you're using his ultimate, and it doesn't have to be like final hits. You know how when you get the KO pop up like on the side, it doesn't have to be that. It just has to be like, the other wee little cross notification over a body that you get, which means like someone else has got the proper KO, but you've done enough damage for it to count as a kill as well. Just needs to be them. And I got 2 of them, then a KO, and I was like, oh, I've done it. And it never popped, so I went back and watched the highlights, because you can go and watch the full game. And the first thing was an assist. It was like the wee handshake thing, and I was like, oh, raging, man. I thought I'd done it. So I was just like, I'm honestly pulling my hair out. I don't know what to do. I think I need you to come on and either go Doctor Strange or Groot, because you can like freeze a bunch of people for like a few seconds, and then I can like wail on them and try and get my trophy.
I'll happily do that. I'll happily help.
But then I've saw a lot of movies. I watched Shallow Grave the same day I watched Francis Ha, which is Danny Boyle movie from the 90s. Really good, man. I really enjoyed it. The 3 characters are proper toxic though, like in the film, like. And you're not really rooting for anyone. If you are rooting for anyone, it's Ewan McGregor's character, just because like out of all like the other characters, you see some like really like I don't know, you feel like you see some concerning things about them and the way they sort of treat each other. But Ewan McGregor's character's just a bit of a dick. Do you know what I mean? He's a bit of an arsehole, so it's not like he's no. And I think he knows that he's a wee bit of a knob. Do you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, really good. Some really good shots in it as well. There's a great shot of like Christopher Eccleston's in it as well. Plays a Scottish guy. For the most part, does a really good job. There is a couple of times where his accent slips, particularly when he starts swearing. It's just you hear that the English accent come out. But there's a great shot of him like when he's like going into spoiler territory, he's like digging holes to put bodies in, and it's just like his shadow and then this bright red light behind him, and it's just such a great. It just looks really cool. Yeah, good film. Nice shot. It's like an hour and a half as well, which is a nice length for a film. And then yesterday we went to cinema. We watched Presence, which is Soderbergh, and it's more interesting than it was good, if that makes sense. It's a sort of horror thriller type thing from the point of view of this, whether it's a supernatural thing or a demon or a ghost or however you want to. Oh, someone at the door, I think. 2 seconds.
Yep.
Oh, it's just a postman. They've gone already. But we can probably hear Harley barking in the background now, so that's great.
Kind of really, no quite.
All right, she's very loud here. Sorry, guys. So yeah, and it's got some interesting scenes. It's not scary at all, and I think that's obviously because you're getting it from the point of view of the thing that's meant to be scaring. But it's more interesting than it is good. I think it's an interesting way to do a film. I just don't know. I give it 3 stars out of 5, and I like it. And I would recommend it to people who like watching films for how films are made and for ideas. And actually, we've got a couple of friends who are horror fans. I'm not sure I would recommend it as like, oh, this is an incredible horror film. You need to watch it. It's like the next best horror film. But yeah, I think if you like films and just like new ideas on how to do films, and yeah, I would recommend it. It's quite good. And then we watched A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan biopic, which was good. 4 stars out of 5. Enjoyed the music, which is quite good. Interesting in the fact that I'm not sure. I'm not a big Bob Dylan fan. Obviously, like everyone, you know some of the songs because it's Bob Dylan. He's one of the most famous songwriters ever. But they're not songs I'm particularly like that enamored by. But yeah, good. Timothy Chalamet's good. The 2 girls in it were good. I think is it Elle Fanning? Is that the younger sister?
Yeah.
It wasn't Dakota. And then there was like women in it. I didn't think I recognised her for anything, but apparently she's in Maverick. Monica Barbaro, I think she's called. She was excellent as well. She was really good. And Ed Norton's in it as well, who's good in everything, isn't he? So,
Yep.
yeah, A Complete Unknown was good. Timothy Chalamet's great. He's really good in anything. The way, like, we were saying, like, he looked smelly, like, in the film. Like, he had, like, long, dirty fingernails. It was really stressing me out. So it was, It was quite off-putting, so it was. She's still barking, and so I know you say you can't hear it, but hopefully it's not been picking up on the microphone because she's not happy with the post. Because obviously we live in a cul-de-sac, so the postman starts on our side of the street, so they just go up around the street. So Harley just barks at them as they're going all the way around, sort of thing.
No, you can hear a wee bit, but it's not a big deal.
But yeah, really good. Like there's a guy I don't know who played Johnny Cash, and I have no idea if it's a good interpretation of Johnny Cash. But I enjoyed the performance, like nonetheless. Yeah, good. Yeah, I liked it. I don't think it's going to win any Oscars though. I know it's been nominated, and I think Timothée Chalamet's been nominated. I don't think it will. As good as he was, I'm not sure it's a best. It's definitely not a best picture, and I don't think it's best actor as well. I think there must be other performances. But Elle Fanning and that Monica Barbaro, I thought they were really good, to both of them.
Nice. Yeah, nice. I keep seeing posters for that. I've just remembered I've had said to you one of the films I watched was Nosferatu.
Oh yeah. How'd you get on it?
I was sleeping through quite a lot of it. I had a rough day, but no. What I did see, I think I can't remember if it was on the pod or if it was just us talking. But you described it as like a visual treat. I think that's very accurate.
A visual feast is how I described
it. Yes. One you want to sink your teeth into.
Yeah, there we go. You're right, Harley. You done? Then you can get in. There's plenty of space. Come in. Just try to open the door more. There we go.
But yeah, no, I did enjoy it. The story again, me and Charlene watched it, and I think we struggled a wee bit with it. As I say, I was kind of half sleeping, so I don't think that helped. But no, I think visually it was better than what it was as a story, I suppose. But it was okay.
Yeah, I think I'll enjoy it more the next time I watch it, because like when I think back at some of the scenes, it's one of the best looking films I've watched in the last few years. It looks so good. Like some of the scenes are great. Like, do you know the bit before he gets to Count Orlok and he's in the forest and there's like that single track road and the cart comes towards him and stuff, or like the scene at night when Orlok's putting his hand over the city, or like even the opening scene, like when she goes out into the garden and stuff, and it's all sort of in black and white. It looks so good.
Yeah,
just some of the choices I just wasn't for me. And I mentioned Aaron Taylor-Johnson in Nocturnal Animals, and how it's like the best performance I've ever seen him give. I think he's the best thing in that film. I think he's the worst thing in Nosferatu. The accent that I just kind of get on board with him in that film. I don't know what it is.
I quite liked him. I didn't mind him at all.
I find him so hit or miss. Like the one I think, like, have you seen Is it Bullet Train or whatever? I think he's great in that. But I just, for whatever reason, I'm a bit hit or miss with him. Yeah, I like Nosferatu. It's good.
Yeah, it was great.
What do you think of Orlok's Big Bobby?
It was alright.
It's just like, did it make you laugh? It just took me out of the scene, man. I was just like, what are you doing? Like, because I think that scene's great, because she's like tries to kill him, and then obviously spoilers for Nosferatu here, but he's not successful. He tries to kill him, and then see the way he like stands up, and you're like, oh shit, he's in bother here, and then you see Big Bobby just and it just made me laugh. I was just like, oh, this scene's ruined. Like,
aye. And it was an alright film. I was going to say something and it just totally slipped me. But I don't think it's for everybody. I think it's...
Nosferatu?
Yeah.
I don't think Robert Eggers is for everyone, though, is he?
Yeah.
And that's probably why his movies are so well revered by those who like them, because what's that whole thing, like, if everyone likes what you do, then it's not worth doing, is it? Like, or everyone likes what you make, it's not worth making. He's not trying to please everyone. He's got a very... talking about Robert Eggers, like a wee bit, I think he's been signed up to do the next... I don't know if it's a sequel or a remake to Labyrinth, the David Bowie film.
Yeah. There's a sequel,
I've never seen Labyrinth. I was too scared to watch it when I was a wee boy, so I've never seen it.
It's quite a lot of nostalgia with that film for me.
Yeah, it's quite a cult movie in it. A lot of people probably love it, but I've never seen it, so can't comment.
Enough.
But cool. Is that us?
Aye, that's us, I think.
Nice one. Thanks for listening. If you've tuned in, if you watched Frances Ha, please let us know how you feel about it. We'd like to know if you enjoyed it, what you enjoyed about it, what you didn't enjoy about it. That'd be cool. What are your most underrated movies and games as well? That'd be cool to know. And then also, have a good week. Be nice to each other. Bye.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.